What's up, everybody? This is E the Prophet, and this video is going to be called "Does E equals MC squared explain the creation of the stars?" Now, I was looking at some mathematical formulas like the speed of light and how much time is in a light year, and I came across E equals MC squared. Of course, I knew about it, but for some reason, I really just started looking at it, and that's what kind of led me to make this video. Let me first explain to y'all what E equals MC squared really means, because I got a feeling a lot of y'all probably have no idea what E equals MC squared even is. In fact, let me even say, I'm gonna tell y'all right off the bat that this video is only for the intellectually advanced. If you're not at a certain level of intelligence, the video probably won't make much sense to you. Now, let me go ahead and explain to y'all what E equals MC squared really means. The E in E equals MC squared stands for energy. The M stands for mass. The C stands for the speed of light. And the 2 means that the speed of light is squared. So, what that means is energy equals mass times the speed of light squared. The speed of light is 186,000 miles per second. The speed of light squared is 34,596,000,000 miles per second. So, the way we can really write this is, for it to make sense, is energy equals mass moving at 34,596,000,000 miles a second. That's what E equals MC squared means. So now that y'all understand what E equals MC squared really means, I really thought, like, dang, wouldn't this, like, if we applied this to the universe, wouldn't this make more sense as to how stars were formed, as opposed to dust gathering in a vacuum and somehow heating up? Do y'all know how much dust would need to gather to create a star? And where would this heat come from in a vacuum? And then, not just that, this must have happened, like trillions and trillions of times. So when you look at the current scientific theory on how stars were formed, it makes no sense. It makes no sense at all. I can't even say it's as bad as religion, because religion don't even have an answer for it. And science's answers is really bad. So when we think about Einstein's theory of relativity, and you have objects moving at 34 billion miles a second, and that causes them to become energy, would it make sense that maybe if there were giant masses, like really massive objects like probably as big as our sun, flying through Earth at these speeds, flying through space at these speeds, would that, and if they become energy, would that not make more sense as to how stars were created? Now, it might not explain where the mass comes from, but it definitely would be a better explanation for the second stage of how a star was formed, as opposed to dust heating up in a vacuum. It just makes no sense. If you have a massive object moving at this speed, and it becomes energy at 34 billion miles a second, which is inconceivable. That speed is not even conceivable to us. We don't even have objects that could pick up something moving that fast. So if it becomes energy, in my opinion, that makes a lot more sense to how stars were formed, than the current theory. Now, with that said, I do have some questions about E equals MC squared, because I feel like it's almost too simplistic to truly cover what it's trying to cover. So, in terms of E equals MC squared, I'm taking it at face value that it's accurate, and if matter moving at 34 billion miles a second really does become energy, then, like I said, to me that would explain how our stars form. Now, with that said, I don't know how Einstein came up with the numbers for this. Like, I don't know how he came up with the speed of light squared is the speed you need for matter to become energy. I don't know how he came up with that number, and I also don't know if all matter will behave the same, because matter comes in there's all different types of matter. So I don't know if all forms of matter, all sizes of matter, all density of matter would behave the same way. moving at 34 billion miles a second. I don't know. So it's hard to take this at face value. And honestly, I'm gonna say, man, I really don't know how Einstein was considered a genius, as I'm really starting to take a look at his theories, because a lot of his stuff doesn't really make total sense. You know what I'm saying? And in terms of like the mass move, the one other thing I wanted to mention about Einstein's theory is that if you have, like, say, okay, if you have a giant rock, a really dense rock, this is as big as our sun, if it's moving at 34 billion miles a second, and then you have another object, we'll say it's soft and spongy, moving at 34 billion miles a second, would both of these objects behave the same way? If they did become energy, would the energy be the same? And I guess that's my problem with this theory. Like, there's no way to prove or disprove E equals mc squared. There's no way we can make matter move at 34 billion miles a second to prove or disprove whether or not it becomes energy or not. I really have no way to know for sure. So I'm just taking it on face value that this is accurate. But there's a good chance it might not be accurate. And there's a good chance that stars don't form in either way. They don't form by dust heating up, and they don't form by giant masses moving at 34 billion miles a second. I really believe that to truly understand the universe and how these things form, we have to look at the core. All of these stars, all of these planets have cores. And I really believe we really have to understand the core before we can really understand anything else. Our planet has a core that we don't know anything about because we can't even reach it. We can't get to it. So, I mean, for all we know, the core could be very similar to the brain in all of us. The core that all of these planets and stars have. At the inside of every one, there's a core. Now, I'm going to tell you what's funny is, in all of the things we've seen floating through space, all of the fragments of planets, the asteroids, I don't think we've ever come across a core floating through space. And if I'm not mistaken, I would assume that these cores are incredibly dense, very, very dense, in stars and planets. Now, it could be the case that a neutron star is actually a core of something, because a neutron stars are so incredibly dense. They could be the cores of something much larger. I don't know. But anyway, that's my take. That's why I made the video, and I really wanted to pose that question: if Einstein's theory of relativity, if E equals mc squared really is accurate, and it just seems to me that somebody would have applied this to the universe and how stars are formed. Maybe I'm just really that far above these people, because I'm gonna tell you, as I look more and more at these theories I'm reading, more and more this shit makes no sense whatsoever. I'm telling y'all, the stuff they have told us from the scientific community makes no sense at all. None. Like, let me give y'all one more example before I end this video. I was looking at how much time is in a light year, and then I was looking to see what's the next closest star to our sun, and how many light years was it away. And I think it's Alpha Centauri A and B are the two closest stars, and I think they're like 4 light years away. So I looked up how long it would take to travel in a light year. Now, a light year is like about, I want to say 5.8 trillion miles. 1 light year is 5.8 trillion miles. So they said it would take, at our current technology, the fastest thing we could move in, it would take us 37,000 years to go 1 light year. Now, what's funny is, that's what one thing said. Then I read something else, and it said it would take us 6,300 years to travel to the next star, which is 4 light years away. So I'm like, if it takes 37,000 years to travel 1 light year, how can we travel 4 light years in 6,300 years? It makes no sense. And that's what I'm saying. These people are all over the place. Like, nothing makes sense. And that's what I'm here for. That's what the prophet is here for, to make this stuff make sense. And I'm going to tell y'all don't have to believe me. And I've said it in several videos. I am one of the most intelligent men in this world, bar none. No bullshitting you. 100% accurate. I promise y'all. There is nobody that can challenge me on any of my videos. I promise y'all. Nobody can intelligently challenge me on anything. Because half of these people didn't even know what the hell they was talking about. They have no idea. Like, let me just, like, man, I know I'm kind of going off of what this video was supposed to be about, but I just want to mention one more thing. They've told y'all a lot of stuff that's just not true, or they have no way to know if it's true or not, but yet they're basing everything else on this. They told us that the universe is only 14 billion years old. That shit makes no sense. How the hell can a universe only be 14 billion years old? Yo, that's as dumb as saying that Adam and Eve were created 6,000 years ago. It's the exact same thing. They both make no sense. The universe might be 100 zillion years old for all we know. Or maybe there is no beginning or no end. It may be infinite. There may not be a beginning to the universe. See, we have to relate things to beginning and ends because that's what we know. That's what we see. That's all we know. We don't know of infinity or immortality or anything like that. So for us, we have to make these dumb assumptions, but we really have no idea how old the universe is. And the next thing that I have to debunk is this whole thing about the universe starting off as a vacuum. How the hell could it be a vacuum and then all of a sudden all this shit appears? If it was nothing, how can something come from nothing? If it's nothing, how can all of this stuff come up from it? So it's pretty obvious that the universe has probably never been a void. You know what I'm saying? It probably never has been a void of just total nothingness. And it probably never will be. But anyway, y'all, man, I'm going to go ahead and leave it there because I'm going off on tangents that really don't have nothing to do with what this video was supposed to be about. But I just want to leave y'all with one more thing before I do end. I want to show you this formula that I made myself. Now, this formula explains gravity. And this is my formula that I came up with, and I made it to challenge the theory of relativity because the theory of relativity is garbage. It's bunk. I already made a video about why that theory makes no sense at all and how we shouldn't be using that theory. So this is the formula I came up with to challenge that theory. And that's what my next video is going to be about. So I'm going to end it here, y'all. If y'all made it this far, thank you. Thank you for watching. I love y'all. You know what I'm saying? I know this video probably took a little bit more intellectual stamina to follow, but I'm glad y'all did if y'all did. I love y'all. Everybody stay safe, stay strong, stay healthy. Peace.